Hello and welcome to www.spicyreads.org. I'm Ed Spicer. In the summer of 2013, I had the privilege of speaking with Matt Faulkner, his wife Kris Remenar, and Ruth McNally Barshaw about their books, Art in Schools and Budgets, and various other topics. Since our meeting last summer, Kris's book has changed its title from To See or Not to See to A Groundhog's Dilemma. Enjoy. Welcome to www.spicyreads.org. I have with me today Kris Remenar and Matt Faulkner and Ruth McNally Barshaw.
I'm excited that my own first picture book will be coming out in 2015 from Charles Bridge. Yay.
Now you see it?
Yeah, called To See or Not to See.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's Groundhog's Dilemma on Groundhog's Day, what he should do. And I'm fortunate enough to have it be illustrated by my talented husband.
Whoa! Talented husband.
That's me.
Is that you?
Yeah, well, the talented part, that's up for judgment. But
But the husband part is definitely true,
yes,
right?
Kris.
I'm Ruth McNally Barshaw. I'm here to, I did a presentation to teachers about how to use Ellie McDoodle in a classroom, about sketching and getting kids excited about writing. And this is my latest book, Ellie McDoodle. The Ellie McDoodle Diaries, the show must go on. Ellie McDoodle is writing an art on every page. This book happens to feature Evil Toto, a favorite among readers, I'm sure.
Matt will be the illustrator for your brand new picture book.
Yes.
How did that happen? Because the last time I spoke to you, you didn't know.
Exactly. My editor at Charles Bridge, named Yolanda, she bought my manuscript and I was thrilled. And the editors at Charles Bridge came to a decision that they love Matt's art, but they also think that his art and my storytelling would make a good match. So they asked me, how would you feel if we asked your husband to illustrate the book? And my answer was automatically, absolutely yes.
And you've just done a presentation about working with kids to sort of confront that elephant in the room of racism. Mm-hmm. You did a Taste of Colored Water, which is two white kids in the South seeing the sign over the water bubbler, which my kids might know more as a drinking fountain, and it says colored, and they think, oh, like this orange pop's going to come out, this rainbow soda. And your book, Gaijin, your graphic novel, which is coming out, deals with a personal family story. Can you tell us a little bit about Gaijin?
Sure. Gaijin's coming out April 2014. My editor would find that very important that I share that with you from Disney Hyperion. The full title is Gaijin, American Prisoner of War. I have to remember the title that I wrote. Gaijin means outsider, and it's a derogatory term used by Japanese at the time, and anybody of Japanese descent who is pure Japanese descent would say that about somebody who is half-breed, half Irish-American Japanese, which is what the young man in the story, Koji, turns 13 on Pearl Harbor Day. And his mother, Adeline, is Irish-American. He's Irish-Japanese-American. His dad had to go back to Japan back at the beginning of 1941 because his father was ill. They don't know where he is. They haven't heard from him. And that's how the story starts. My Aunt Adeline was the model for Koji's mom, Adeline. Her daughter, Mary, received a letter in 1941 telling her that she, because she's part Japanese, had to go to Manzanar concentration camp in Eastern California, out in the desert. I'll also be working with Doreen Rappaport on her next book.
Oh, cool.
About Elizabeth Stanton. It's called Elizabeth Started All the Trouble. So again, it's like, okay, groundhogs over here, and
Elizabeth Cady Stanton over there.
Feminism over there, and
it all works.
Why is art so important to kids? And tell me how you feel about what's happening in schools with art budgets and education and Common Core curriculum and that sort of thing.
Oh gosh.
You got an hour?
Yeah, how much time do you have? Art saved my life. When I was 15 years old, my art teacher gave me a journal to keep track of my adventures in. And I think she knew that I was a troubled kid, but she didn't ask any questions. Back then people didn't. But she gave me a way to vent that I used for the rest of my life. And she gave me this idea of keeping track of neat things going on in my life that I still use and that turned into a career for me, turned into the Ellie McDoodle books.
And who is that published by?
By Bloomsbury, the wonderful Bloomsbury. And Ellie keeps a journal of her adventures. Every book is a new journal for Ellie. I can't imagine a school without the arts. It's painful. We all feel the bite, and I don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, let's hope that we're on an upcycle.
I think we are.
And you also do school visits, as I well know, because you came to North Ward. Is it harder to get bookings?
Oh, sure. But I think that was part of the economic transformation. That's a nicer way of putting the recession.
Right.
I think the issue that I want to address about it too, though, is being someone who was dyslexic and had trouble with numbers and letters as a kid. I want to stand up for the idea that there are other ways to communicate concepts that we're ignoring, that children seem to come to the table with. When I go to a school and I ask who likes to draw, easily 9 out of 10 kids, every school I've ever been to, raises their hand. And I find it fascinating that we're in a place right now in the system that without denigrating anybody who's working hard to help this happen for children, help education happen,
Right.
we are stuck in a place that says that numbers and letters come first. When we have these people, these children who are saying, teach me about the facts and figures through imagery.
Or music, or movement.
Right.
And it's the same thing.
I see a lot of parents and teachers coming into the library eager to find ways that their kids can connect with the written word. And I love the fact that books like Ruth's Ellie McDoodle series and that Matt's picture books, which are amazing detailed picture books and aren't meant to be just read to 2-year-olds. I'm so glad to be able to give those parents and those teachers and those kids who are older than 5 years old books with tons of illustrations where the kids can really respond to both the written word as well as the visual imagery.
What are you working on now that you're a new author?
Now I'm actually starting to play with the sequel to the Groundhog book. I love the fact that groundhogs are also called woodchucks and whistle pigs depending on where you are. And I love the idea that there's that phrase, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Because then how much ground would a groundhog hog if a groundhog could hog ground? So, and I like...
boy, that has a lot of possibilities
right.
there.
And since the first book is to see or not to see with the Shakespearean thing, I'm hoping the second book will be a groundhog by any other name.
Do you have any new ideas percolating that you might explore later on?
I have another assignment that I'm contracted for with Lori Halls Anderson, and it's a book about Abigail Adams.
Well, you also did Thank You, Sarah, and in Independent Dames, and with Lori.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see that manuscript because she's amazing. She's a heck of a lot of fun.
And she's a researcher.
Yeah, so I get all those details I like. While I'm working on something like Abigail Adams and also Doreen Rappaport's book, I want to develop my own interests. One of the things that I really find fascinating is the value of dreaming and that realm, to acknowledge the fact that it has as much import to us as daylight realm. And so I'm working on a book about called Quinn's Bridge, which is about a little boy who his dreams get caught on the wrong side of night, and he's got to help build a bridge back to dream time.
And Ruth?
I'm working on the next Ellie McDoodle. It's all due in about 3 months. And I'm waiting for revisions notes, hoping they're not too extensive, but they might be, but that's okay. I'll get used to it. And then I have 2 picture books that I'm really excited about that aren't under contract or anything yet, but I'm really hoping, I think they're really cool. One is about a dinosaur, and the other one's about a sloth.
Sloth.
And I'm really excited about it.
Thank you so much for appearing on www.spicyreads.org. Any last words? Ruth?
Thank you for bringing us to this pergola.
And Matt?
Yeah, don't stop dreaming and don't stop drawing.
And Kris?
Thank you, and read on.
And thank you. Bye.
Thanks for stopping by. This is Ed Spicer, and this is www.spicyreads.org. You've been listening to Ruth McNally Barshaw, author and illustrator of the Ellie McDoodle Diaries, Kris Remenar, librarian, speaker, and author of the soon-to-be-published A Groundhog's Dilemma, and Matt Faulkner, illustrator and author of many books, including the soon-to-be-released Gaijin, an American prisoner of war that you will want to buy.